I would never allow the word nation or Six Nations or Confederates or Council Fire at Onondaga or any other form which would revive or seem to confirm their former ideas of independence. Treat them as though they were your citizens, therefore, subject to your authority. The style by which the Indians are to be addressed is of moment also. They are used to being called brethren, sachems, and warriors of the Six Nations. I hope it will never be repeated. They should rather be taught that they have become wretched and destroyed themselves, and that public opinion of their importance had long since ceased. So the reason I read that is because we, as the original nations and peoples of this land, or from this land, of this continent, of this hemisphere, have an original, free, and independent existence. And by that I mean originally free and independent of all forms of Christian European domination. That was bequeathed to us by our ancestors, and we therefore have a rightful, free and independent existence. That is, the right to be again free and independent of all forms and manner of domination or subjugation. So this poses a dilemma for federal Indian law. But I want to switch real quickly, and I won't go real long here, but I want to switch real quickly to the presentation by our brothers and sisters from the South, from the country of Ecuador. Because in them talking about their understanding of rights of Mother Earth, it's contextualized within their culture, within their spiritual understanding of all the elements of life. And that includes the spirits of the water, it includes the spirits of the river that they mention, and that when those things are abused, then, and people, the colonizing society creates destructive effects, or it could be our own people doing that, but the colonizing society creating these destructive effects, then those spirits will leave and that river will begin to die, or it will die. So think of the massive, huge devastation of the tar sands, and that's a graphic illustration of what I'm talking about by domination. And that's a graphic illustration of what happens when those stories and those understandings are not followed. In other words, they're saying, our ancestors were saying, if we do not actually perform these practices of thankfulness daily, and we do not perform the ceremonies of thankfulness on a regular, constant basis, then eventually those things that sustain us will be destroyed. And look at the track record. You can now look, and you can look at the litany of all the things that have happened because those things were being destroyed. And by them saying that they could remove our original laws, our original values from the land, and then they've come in with this other set of values of destructiveness, then you have the actual track record of that. So you can look at the track record of our nations and peoples and the thousands of years of existence and what we have contributed to the planet. And then you can begin to extract all that stuff from the world. Imagine the world today without some 60% of all the foodstuffs of the world that came from this hemisphere as a result of indigenous knowledge and wisdom and cultural and ecological and spiritual practices. Look at the Amazon rainforest. I think I mentioned this the other day. Up to 2,000 square miles, and perhaps all of the rainforest was part of an intentional growing process by indigenous peoples, according to many scientists. And they have looked at the cross-cutting in the Amazon and seen the charcoal and the pottery shards all the way up. And so there are many, many examples, but the track record of ecological sustainability on the part of the dominating society is not there. So I think that if people were given a choice, whether they literally believe, as we do, based on experience, in the spiritual understandings of those relationships with life forms, or whether they understand it as a story that's important, nonetheless, it's still a true experience in terms of empirical data, because you can look. You can say, okay, you stop doing those ceremonies, and then look, here's the mercury in that lake, all the way 50 feet down, Lake Onondaga. You can go to Hanford Nuclear Facility and look at all that radiation that leached from Hanford Nuclear Facility into the groundwater into the Columbia River, according to the official website of the state of Oregon. I'm not making this up. You know, you can just go, of course there's a litany. I don't have to go into all the long details, but this is what happens. These are direct consequences of no longer following the original law systems and value systems that were developed over thousands and thousands of years by our ancestors. So I'll leave you with that, and I think the contrast between Rome and home is pretty interesting. And one last thing is that when that dome is inverted, or the dome shape structure is, which represents the domination thinking and conceptual system that creates a reality of a domination system, when that is inverted and it's filled with the water, it's now a symbol of the sacred feminine. And it's also a symbol of the rebalancing of life that needs to occur for the sake of the earth and all living things. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Stephen. So true and so very important. And we have some live streaming going on here. And so we have Clarita Begay, and she says, first of all, thank you all to the organizers for live streaming the talks. She is currently with others at the University of Washington, UW, and she wants to just say she would like it if Robert Yazzi's talk could be posted. She wasn't able to use that, but she says she's Navajo, a PhD student at UW, and working on ways to incorporate cultural values into water quality standards within 4 tribal nations. And so she knows his work and values it, and wants us to please share his talk, and to just thank everybody for being here and thanking us for having the live stream. So shout out to Clarita Begay. All right, cool. We have some famous people coming on down to the stage.
Noah Hinkstray Stongo. My name is Quese IMC. I think I might be the youngest one here. Hey.
Jeez.
What I want to say is I just got here and not too long ago, and I used to go to school here, and I never thought, or I never imagined that, 14 years later, 15 years later, that I would be coming back and being a part of something that involves caretaking of Atira Hararu, Mother Earth, and all the sacred things that come from Mother Earth, and all the sacred things that are a part of Mother Earth. One thing that I was taught, I'm young, I'm still learning, and I'm honored that I was taught that I'll always be learning, until, of course, we go to the spirit world. But one thing that I was taught, in one of my many young journeys that I've been able to be a part of at my young age, but I'm very thankful of that, is that we when the gentleman was saying something about, continue to perform the ceremonies, and then another lady was saying something about continue to give thanks to Mother Earth, that's important. A lot of times, some people do that in certain ways. Some people do that on paper. Some people do that through media, like as we're doing here. And some people do it with direct action. The way that I believe to be very powerful is you can do that in all ways. One thing that I was able to be a part of, and I am still a part of, is building earth lodges. And we started building earth lodges a few years ago. One of the most powerful things that I've done, in my life was to build an earth lodge. From cutting down the trees, praying with the trees, cutting them down, to carrying the trees from where they had a life, where they grew and they died and they became gray, to taking them trees down, and for them trees, miraculously, because they come from Mother Earth and because they know that they had a life, they know they died, but then they're given another life. And in that life that they're given is for us to come along and to use them again, to give them another purpose. And whenever we cut those trees floated. They floated out of those creeks, not by water, but they literally floated in the air. And there were about 9 of us there. And these things weighed about 3,500 pounds. Literally, we all just lifted them up like this. And every single one of those trees floated out of that creek. And we all were witness to it. It was a miracle. It was beautiful. And when that happened, when we got those, because the creek went down like this, and we literally got these huge cottonwoods from this side of the creek, carried them into the creek, out of the creek, literally just like this. And they came out of there like that. When we got them out, and we got them onto the truck, and we got them to where we were building the Earth Lodge, then they became 3,500-pound cottonwoods. And then we could barely pick them up, you know. But when we had prayer and we had ceremony, what those spirits said is they said that you're putting something back into the earth. You're putting life back into the earth. You're giving this creation, Dakis, this sacred wood, another life to have a purpose. Now that purpose is those trees went back into the earth, Atira Hararu. Therefore, those trees became the pillars of our Earth Lodge to hold up the roof, to hold up the lean-tos. You know, it all played a purpose. And one thing that I've learned, you know, in my life, you know, traveling and doing all these things is that we have to put something back into the earth. You won't catch me, you know, writing grants, you know, constantly writing grants to protect Mother Earth. I'm going to be out there putting things into the earth. Because so much right now is being taken from the earth, it's outrageous. It almost, a part of me just says, you know what, Atis Dirawa, Creator, just destroy this earth. Because humankind, they don't understand, they don't get it. And that's how sad it is when you go and you see all these people who have no idea. But there's millions and hundreds of millions that have no idea that are ready to destroy this earth. And there's only a very few of us who really have love for this earth. That's why there's not hundreds of thousands of people here, you know? Because a lot of people just don't care. And they don't care because they don't listen. They don't want to listen to what's going on. You know, fortunate for me, I love to listen. I love to learn. But that's what they said. Build these earth lodges. Build these fires. So many of our young natives don't even know how to build a fire. You know? And it's outrageous. It's amazing how many natives don't know how to build a fire. I had to learn how to build a fire. You know, but one thing that I was taught is that's what we should do. And with all these things that are being taken from the earth, the oil, all the rare metals that go into all this technology, you know, they say this technology, you know, is used against us. But Mother Earth said that Mother Earth will always be a part of us. We come from Mother Earth. So these rare metals come from Mother Earth, meaning that these rare metals, these satellites can only work with these rare metals that come from Mother Earth, that are a part of Mother Earth, meaning we can use these technologies against the system that is used against us. Just like we can use their language against them. We can speak their language better than them. It's almost like we have more spiritual connection to their language than they do because they forgot. But it's okay, is what they say. Because now things have changed. Things have shifted. They're shifting all around. You know? That destruction is happening. But they said that as fast as this destruction is happening, they said the star people, the spirits, they said they're blessing people faster because they have to. So that means people have to get it faster. You have to get it faster. There's no more time. You know, back 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago, you could lollygag, do this and that. It's over. People are dying now. So much death is sweeping across Indian country because our own people don't even get it. And our own people were the ones who were given the gift of spirituality to actually connect to the earth and actually make powerful change here on earth. That's just what I was taught. And I've seen it happen. You know, and one thing that I'm honored to do is be able to use this technology, to be able to use direct action, to be able to have ceremonies, build earth lodges, you know, and to be able to come back to Haskell where I was made fun of 15 years ago, you know, because of how I looked, how I dressed, you know, because I was all about being native, you know, my own people made fun of me because I didn't drink, you know, because I was pushed aside because I wasn't a part of that. But it's okay because we're looking for those people who can understand the poisons of this earth that try to take us away from who we are as a people. And that poison is not just alcohol, which was a biological weapon against our people to make us crazy, to set us back 150 years. But now we're here in 2012 and we got it. We're learning, you know, and that's what I believe. That's why I'm here. That's why I want to be here, you know. And I also like to rap. So what a great opportunity to use one of the greatest mediums to reach all kinds of people, which is hip-hop, and I can put this message within the hip-hop so that subconsciously it can move people in a spiritual way, because it's a spiritual movement. You know, that's what I believe. I could say so many different things. There's so many things that I've learned in my life, but what I'll say is that we have to continue to build these sacred homes, these earth lodges, because that's what they did. They destroyed our homes. That's what the oppressor did. You know, the Charikstaka, the Stahiki, that's what they did. They came to destroy our homes. And when you destroy a home, you destroy a place where you eat, where you're born, where you have feasts, where you visit, laugh, have ceremonies, where the medicine bundles are stored. They destroyed that. That's like the center point. But it's okay, because we were told that it's time to build that. It's time to go back into that earth, build those fires, you know. And that's what I wanted to say to all 550 of y'all.
Woohoo! Man, there was...
Nobody put this up on me. In 2 minutes, that guy can flat talk.
You gotta grab that applause one down there.
All right, y'all. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. I hope to see y'all at the hip-hop show dancing.
There were so many times I wanted to clap during that, but I was like, oh, there's another good one. So thanks, Keith. It's true, and I appreciate it. And we're really happy you're here, because you speak a lot of truth. And online, we have the live stream happening, and they are saying that we should live stream everything, always, everywhere, so that we don't have to travel necessarily. And I don't know, you know, we're talking about this technology thing, so we're working on it. We can use technology in a good way, and I'm going to keep saying some of these things that are here online first here. That was from HOSAP, and continue to live stream. Crow's Feather agrees with that. If we can continue to inspire and remind us of the importance of what has been talked about in the last 3 days, we can go back and refresh our memories about what was happening there. So thank you guys for being online and for putting some shout outs online, and I'll get to the rest of these things here, but I'm going to turn it back over down.
Okay, yes, you know, for the people on the online, I also want to say that, you know, the United States Food Sovereignty Alliance has a Earth Rights Committee, and so we're slowly getting into these different organizations so that we can get our word out. And I remember Vine Delorious saying, you know, every opportunity you get, put Earth on the agenda. And so when I heard that about 10 years ago, I thought, wow, you know, that's so simple, you know, because this is who we are. And so there's been, you know, the influences from many people across the country, you know, working with organizations regarding food sovereignty and dismantling racism in the food system, like you know, Will Allen's out of Milwaukee, his Growing Power, and the Growing Food and Justice Initiative that is working to dismantle racism and beginning to understand and relate to one another on a good level. Knowing what kind of food comes from where, and then these things are tasteful, and it breaks down all the barriers when we talk about the food. And so dismantling that racist mentality that's been imposed upon us is one way that I feel that you know, we can start making change. But always, you know, the foundation of good, healthy food is earth. So just remember that. And one of the things I had heard before is the closing of Ben Price. He would, I don't know if he would just tell me what he thinks about the word hope. Yes, sir. Will you please come up here? I'd just like to hear you say this. I'd like to say it, but I'd be in trouble with my family.
I don't know if I can say it exactly as you're reminding me that I said it one time in New Mexico. And sometimes when I talk to communities that I'm working with to organize, I get the sense that they think that we're the guys coming in to rescue, that the organizers are going to be the ones to do the work, that we're going to do it all. And I have to let them know gently that if anything is going to happen, they'll be the ones that have to do it. And the word hope is something It sounds like a good word, but I think that it's used in such a bad way so many times that people say, we hope things will be better, that we hope that, that they won't take out all the tar sands, that that won't become a reality. We hope that the fracking will come to our community. And I think that staying stuck on hope sometimes stops people from doing. The realization that we're the ones we've been waiting for is something that in many of the non-Indigenous communities that I work in, they have to hear that, and have to hear it a lot, that their government isn't going to fix it for them, that they can't elect the right people and have them pass the right laws to get it fixed for them, that the Legal Defense Fund isn't going to fix it for them. You know, the best we can do is come and say, we think maybe you haven't thought about all of the options. You know, you have just very few options in terms of turning things around and having an effect on stopping corporations from doing nasty things to your community. You can do nothing. I say this in the communities that I talk with about fracking, and I say, you can do nothing and get fracked. And I don't mean that in a nasty way. It just turns out that's the word that's been used. And the second option is that you can try to make the law as it exists work for you. You can try to make the regulations work for you and get fracked. Because the laws that are on the books guarantee that the corporation gets what it wants and the people don't, and the earth doesn't. The third option, speaking of thinking outside the box, the third option is to stand up as a community and say, we draw the line here. The answer is no. We're going to protect our community, our people, future generations, and the earth in the place where we live. We're connected to it, and we're going to stop it. And we're going to prohibit it, and we're going to make law. This is what we do. We're going to make law, this community's law, not that government's law, this community's law that says no fracking, no removal of tar sands, no pipeline coming through, whatever it is. And I do understand how hopeless that sounds. Hopelessness, huh? What if we don't challenge? What if we don't say no? What are we guaranteed then? We're going to get fracked. That's what's going to happen. If we don't do anything, what we don't want to happen will happen. And there's no, it's a hopeless situation. Let's stop hoping and let's look to ourselves for the answers. That's where they are. That's where they've always been. And if we stay asleep, the earth will continue to die, I believe. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.